Hello everyone, welcome back to Flying Pig Music. So I'm back with another sort of reaction, explanation video today. I'm glad you're here listening. So David Gilmour just released, well not David Gilmour, but Rolling Stone magazine just released a interview with David Gilmour and Polly Samson. And there's a few things on there that were pretty notable that I would like to talk about. It kind of goes hand in hand with the announcement that Roger Waters released about a week ago concerning the Animals 5.1 remix box set release that I am certainly looking forward to. I'm sure you are too. Like I said in my last video, Animals is one of my favorite albums of all time. It got released and it got remixed in 2018, and it has been held up due to some liner notes that Roger Waters wanted included in the album, and David did not. Like I said in the last video, this is not something that I like. I don't like it when things are held up just because of little trivial matters. Well, it's not trivial to them, but for me, including liner notes or not shouldn't delay an album by 3 years of release. Roger was adamant about it. David was adamant about not having it. Ultimately, Roger acquiesced and said, fine, no liner notes. So they kind of talk about that very briefly in the interview with Rolling Stone. David explains that anything that they've ever released has not had liner notes, and looking through my collection, I can't find anything that has had liner notes. It's usually just artwork by Hypnosis, photography, but actual liner notes, I can't really find any. So it would seem like that's David Gilmour's idea, not really to have too much information about the history of the making or the recording. And that's fine with me. If you're going to have them, fine. If you're not, don't. But 3 years, geez, come on. That's way too long to be arguing about this kind of thing. Another thing I'd like to talk about is some people keep asking me in my videos and in my own opinions, I seem to lean towards the David Gilmour side of things instead of Roger Waters. And this is true. This is true. I do think that they both need to grow up and stop this nonsense. But when it comes to taking sides, I don't like to take sides, but if I do, it's usually David Gilmour's view of things. I'm sure we're all sick of this, but as fans, even if we don't want to, we do form opinions, and we do have opinions about things. Ultimately, we either choose Roger Waters' side or David Gilmour's side, no matter how childish it might be. When you're a fan of a group as popular as Pink Floyd and with fans as passionate as we are, inevitably we do end up taking sides. So why? Why is it? Well, one reason is the recent turn of events that have happened. Within the last few months, Roger has, on his own, using his own social media, just lashed out at David Gilmour publicly. That's not me. I don't like to look for fights. I'm not a very confrontational person. At the same time, I am a very protective and guarded person, and if someone does attack me, I do want to defend myself and respond. Roger has very publicly and openly, I don't know if I want to say attacked, but has out of nowhere gone after David Gilmour. And David has actually not responded much, if at all. Maybe little remarks here and there, but definitely not any response videos. David goes into that in his recent interview. He mentions that he doesn't like responding to every little thing. He would rather let Roger, he doesn't say Roger by name in the interview, but we all know who he's talking about. He would rather just let people say what they will. He'll swallow it and take it in stride, and if the time comes that it needs to be addressed, he'll address it. If not, people can think whatever they want, people can say whatever they want, and he'll live his life. And that's very much the kind of person I am in life. I'm not out looking for fights. It seems like Roger Waters is having a very hard time letting go of Pink Floyd, even though, I'm sure a lot of you won't like this, but, he left the band on his own accord in 1985, and now it just seems like he's regretted not leaving the band, but regretted the fallout of that, okay, he's left the band and a lot of people still don't recognize that he used to be the leader. I'm not sure what it is, but just lately it seems worse than ever before. So if you're going to leave a group, and then after you leave the group, you're going to try and destroy the group by telling them that they can't continue on, and you try and file lawsuits, and you try and keep them from using the name, and you try and blow it up. And then only 2 years later, try and become a part of the decision making once again within that group. I just have a hard time following that train of thought. I'm sure it makes sense to him. I'm sure it makes sense to a lot of other fans out there. Yes, he was the creative mind behind a lot of the greatest ideas that the band ever had. He definitely was the leader for a good time in the group. But, you make your decisions, you have to deal with the consequences of said decisions. I also don't like this whole thing that he's doing on social media about Pink Floyd. To me, he's trying to pit fans against either side. To me, he's trying to sway fans to go and rally to his point of view. It reminds me a lot of a divorced couple, a divorced mother and father who, they might have their differences in private and arguments, but once you argue real arguments in front of the children, and then you try and tell the children to pick who's right, mommy or daddy, to me, that's so childish. And that's how I feel like he is acting. And that's why I try and really try so hard not to think negatively about it, because that's just how he is. He's a very open person. And he can think however he wants. He can post whatever he wants. But personally, myself, as a fan, the way I think, the way I feel, I just can't abide by the way he is behaving and the way he's acting and the media and videos that he's been posting. I'm much more of a Gilmour type personality. That's why I personally sway naturally towards Gilmour. Other than that, in the interview that David gives, there's not much more information about the Animals 5.1. He does say that it's a lovely remix. He mentions that it won't be out soon, but keep in mind that this interview was made before Roger posted his video. So this isn't David responding to Roger's video. In fact, I read in another news article that Rolling Stone has reached out to David to see if he wants to add anything to the interview responding to Roger's recent post, and he declined. And that's fine. But at the time of the interview, David saw no release in sight. But ever since that interview, Roger has said he has backed off, and he's allowing Pink Floyd to release Animals 5.1 remix without the liner notes, so that should be soon. Hopefully we get a release date soon. But other than that, the interview was mostly based around David and his recent collaboration with his wife, Polly Sampson, on her book, Theater for Dreamers, the audiobook. David plays some music in between the readings, and he has said that he's been working on new material for an album. This new material is new songs that he's been writing during lockdown. He also mentions that it's songs that have been getting worked on before Rattle That Lock was even released. So it's older songs that he's still working on. And we all know David, he is not one to rush his work. He likes to take his time. He takes as much time as he needs. He's not much of a workaholic when it comes to coming out with new ideas, much to the chagrin of Roger Waters back in the Pink Floyd days. That's another reason why he took charge so much of the time, is because David couldn't be bothered to get to work. But he does say he's working on new material. He does say he's going to play the electric guitar again, which is good news. I mean, I like David's acoustic things, but we all know why we're David Gilmour fans. We love those lead guitar notes. So that's good to hear. They talk about Polly writing lyrics for David Gilmour and how it bothers a lot of people. Personally, it doesn't bother me one bit. I don't know why people would be bothered by David letting Polly write lyrics for him. David knows what his strengths are and what his weaknesses are. David plays an amazing guitar and can write great music. He is a competent lyricist, but, he's not great, and he knows that. Personally, I don't think he writes bad lyrics, but he does have a hard time coming up with them, and he'd rather not have to take so much of his time writing lyrics, and he goes ahead and lets Polly do her thing. She is, after all, a poet, a writer, and I feel like a lot of people just have a hard time accepting this just because she's his wife. She's a woman. Is it the sexist part of people that are having a hard time realizing this? I'm not sure. I mean, there's plenty of good musicians out there that have lyricists. I mean, look at Elton John. His lyricist was Bernie Taupin for years and years and years, and they wrote some of their best material. No one batted an eye. No one bothered to criticize because, well, Bernie Taupin's great, and, well, he's a man. Is that why? Is that why a lot of people have a hard time giving David a pass for having a lyricist? If Polly Sampson was a man and they were just friends, would anyone care that they're writing music and lyrics together? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. So for me, I'm not bothered. I've never been bothered by it. Polly's lyrics are pretty great. Probably not on par with Roger Waters' lyrics. He's a great lyricist. But, personally, I'm a music guy. Lyrics come second. A lot of people, it's the opposite. They need to have thought-provoking, great lyrics first, and then music. I think albums like the Division Bell and songs like High Hopes, in which Polly contributes lyrics with David, it's just fantastic. I have no complaints about it. And even David on his own, he writes lyrics on his own. Coming Back to Life, that was lyrics and music by David himself. People give David and Polly such a hard time with their lyrics. I have no idea why. Not everyone can be Roger Waters. There's lots of bands out there who don't write lyrics as good as Roger Waters does. Does that mean they are terrible at writing lyrics, terrible at music. No, of course not. You know, Robert Plant is not a compelling lyricist like Roger Waters, but no one ever compares Led Zeppelin songs to Roger Waters' lyrics. I mean, come on. It's a very simplistic way to look at things. But I feel like I've said enough. That's about all I have for today. That's what I think of the new interview by Rolling Stone of David Gilmour and Polly Sampson. If you have any responses to this video of what I think, if you agree with me, if you disagree, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Let's keep it civil, because, Jesus, these things can go south pretty quick. All right. Have a great day, everyone, and keep talking.